Hey guys, welcome to the Liberal Hive Mind, a channel solely focused on exposing the abundant hypocrisy of the left. Now, of course, I'm a little bit late on this topic. It happened late Wednesday night, and I just wasn't really in the mood to open the mic and record a video late at night. But of course, better late than never. We're talking about Joe Biden's ominous anti-MAGA speech. His address to the nation. Very simply put, folks, this was the worst, most divisive, most bizarre speech given by any president ever. And this is exactly what I've been saying in so many videos criticizing Joe Biden. He continues to label the other side as fascist and then acts like a total demagogue. Joe Biden, and of course it's not really Joe Biden, Joe Biden's handlers, the Democrat establishment, have decided that they are officially going to adopt a platform or a messaging campaign of absolute bigotry and intolerance. It's like I always say, folks, the whole irony, the whole hypocrisy here, everything that they blamed Donald Trump for, everything, or at least all the bad stuff that they associated with Donald Trump, they themselves are, of course, much more guilty of. I mean, of course, I gotta keep this YouTube channel PG, so I won't be able to say all the things that I want to say. But man, Joe Biden is not just a bad president. Joe Biden is just a bad person. And that is the nicest way to put it. We've got to talk about Joe Biden's disastrous, frankly disgusting address to the nation. We've got some stuff to get into, so let's roll the tape. Alright folks, so Joe Biden, the great unifier, he has decided to become a demagogue. The definition of a demagogue, a political leader who seeks support by appealing to the desires and prejudices of ordinary people rather than using rational argument. And that is exactly what Joe Biden is doing. He's appealing to the prejudice and the partisan desire of far-left Democrat voters. Joe Biden has gone full-on MSNBC. That's the new strategy coming out of the Democrat Party, to demonize and attack an entire segment of the population as enemies of the state. Of course, we've been covering this Democrat descent into madness over the last couple of weeks. It's been a clear political strategy shift, but on Wednesday night was probably the most despicable display.
Too much of what's happening in our country today is not normal. Donald Trump and the MAGA Republicans represent an extremism that threatens the very foundations of our republic. Not every Republican embraces their extreme ideology. I know, because I've been able to work with these mainstream Republicans. But there's no question that the Republican Party today is dominated, driven, and intimidated by Donald Trump and the MAGA Republicans. And that is a threat to this country. MAGA Republicans do not respect the Constitution. They do not believe in the rule of law. They do not recognize the will of the people. They promote authoritarian leaders, and they fan the flames of political violence that are a threat to our personal rights, to the pursuit of justice, to the rule of law, to the very soul of this country. This time, they're determined to succeed in thwarting the will of the people. That's why respected conservatives like Federal Circuit Court Judge Michael Luttig has called Trump and the extreme MAGA Republicans, quote, a clear and present danger to our democracy. Far more Americans from every background and belief who reject the extreme MAGA ideology than those that accept it. We can't be pro-insurrectionist and pro-American. They're incompatible. We can't allow violence to be normalized in this country. It's wrong. MAGA Republicans look at America and see carnage and darkness and despair. They spread fear and lies. Lies told for profit and power. American manufacturers come alive across the heartland, and the future will be made in America. No matter what the white supremacists and the extremists say.
This is Joe Biden, the great unifier. This is Uncle Joe, who's supposed to be a president for every American, regardless of political side. And probably the craziest part is the basic contradiction. I mean, Joe Biden is attacking Donald Trump and Trump supporters as essentially being enemies to democracy and the state, while simultaneously pushing a unifying message. I mean, this guy's a real jerk, and again, I wish I could use much harsher language. He stands there and paints this evil, grim picture of his political opponents, pushing this this very negative partisan messaging. It's frankly despicable. You know, they attacked Donald Trump for this kind of stuff. They labeled Donald Trump as a negative, bigoted partisan, running on a negative campaign message. But it couldn't be further from the truth. Once again, it's total projection. The entire ethos of Donald Trump's campaign and presidency was to make America great again, to strive for greatness. It was a positive, moving forward message. You know, the same kind of stuff that Donald Trump continues to release on his social media platforms.
Soon we will have greatness again. It was hard-working patriots like you who built this country, and it is hard-working patriots like you who are going to save our country. There is no mountain we cannot climb. There is no summit we cannot reach. There is no challenge we cannot meet. There is no victory we cannot have. We will not bend. We will not break. We will not yield. Ever, ever, ever. We will never give in, we will never give up, and we will never, ever back down. We will never let you down as long as we are confident and united. The tyrants we are fighting do not stand even a little chance. Because we are Americans, and Americans kneel to God and God alone. And it is time to start talking about greatness for our country again.
But they accuse Donald Trump of being hyper-negative and divisive and mean. Meanwhile, this guy, I mean, they're rallying behind him. They're calling him Dark Brandon. He's pushing the most divisive, darkest political messaging that we have ever seen from any president ever. Not to mention, speeches like this shouldn't even be political. It's an address to the nation. You know, there's a whole lot of things to talk about. As the RNC pointed out on a tweet, number of times Joe Biden has mentioned all of these various issues from border, crime, inflation, supply chain, gas prices, the list goes on. He mentioned those topics 0 times. 0. Those are the top issues that Americans are facing right now. But instead of being a president and focusing on things that matter, he chose to play negative partisan politics. And not just partisan politics, but demonization. Once again, 4 years of leftists comparing Donald Trump to the 1940s German leader, the man who shall not be named, basically like Voldemort. But again, I think it's projection. That comparison lines up a whole lot more with Joe Biden right now than it ever did with Donald Trump. Joe Biden is using his power as the president of the United States to demonize an entire segment of Americans. That is disgusting. He's weaponizing the Oval Office to create anger in the nation targeted towards a particular segment of the population. He's calling them fascists and claiming that they're a threat with a very evil, blood-red backdrop. I'm telling you, left-wing politics is slowly devolving into authoritarianism. It's actually the same kind of rhetoric and the same kind of thing that we saw from Justin Trudeau, except the imagery is much worse. I mean, who thought that this was a good idea? He looks like an angry, vicious old man standing in front of a blood-red backdrop with 2 Marines at his shoulder the day after his subtle, veiled threat of using F-15s against Americans who support the Second Amendment. He's feeding into the left-wing crazies. That is exactly what he's doing. He's trying to rile up the angry left-wing mob because clearly nothing else has been working, because clearly he doesn't have a track record or actual job performance to run on. And so he's being a bigot, he's being a demagogue. It's absolutely reprehensible. This is Hillary Clinton's deplorable moment on crack, on Hunter Biden crack. And it just brings me back to that same point, the same point that I've been making forever. Actually, you know, I'm going to use this meme right over here to make that point. MAGA only want one thing, and it's disgusting. Of course, the "it's disgusting" part is sarcasm. It's from a specific internet meme. But look at the imagery. I mean, this is what MAGA represents. MAGA represents the white picket fence America, a thriving middle class, family values, traditional values. It is the most misunderstood and misrepresented political movements of my lifetime. And it's thanks to people like Joe Biden. It's thanks to Democrat propagandists who push these hate-filled, slanderous talking points. I mean, again, they label you the evil, bigoted fascist as they wield the power of the government and the media to lie about you and to attempt to destroy you. And of course, it's the whole machine. Here's a great example of what I mean by the Democrat machine being used in such vile manner to destroy you. The story from Wednesday night should have clearly been Joe Biden's despicable, partisan, hate-filled speech. But instead, what do you get from the mainstream media? Take a look at the reporting from CNN. President Biden, I believe America is big enough for all of us to succeed, and that it is the nation we're building, a nation where no one is left behind. They completely ignored all of the segments where Joe Biden went on vicious, hate-filled rants against his political opponents And they even edited the backdrop to make the blood red in the background pink. I mean, these are propagandists, folks. These are state-supported, state-endorsed propagandists. I mean, this is evil stuff, folks. This is the exact evil that they tried to pin on Donald Trump. It's them, and it never was Donald Trump. And let's really put it into perspective, folks. What the president is doing here should not be taken lightly. He is doing the same thing that we've seen from terrible authoritarian leaders of the past. You might even argue that it's incitement to violence. The same thing that the media did throughout Donald Trump's first term. There's a reason why people were being randomly assaulted in the streets for having MAGA hats. Of course, something Democrats never went on the record condemning. He is telling the American population that Trump voters, conservatives, Republicans are a threat, are a danger, that they are fascists, and that they must be stopped. With that kind of targeted hyperbolic rhetoric, what do you think the end result is going to be? And in the same breath, he talks about MAGA Republicans endorsing violence. What a complete joke this man is, as he sits there and declares conservatives the enemy of the state, the enemy of the people. Like I said in the intro, this was the most vile, the worst, the most partisan, the most divisive, the most bigoted, the most bizarre, unbelievable speech ever given by any American president. And it's not even close. Folks, very simply, evil was on display Wednesday night. That's what I got for you guys, though. If you enjoyed the commentary, make sure to leave a like and possibly subscribe to the channel. Of course, we'd love to have you as part of the community. And I'm going to end this one with a real strong "Let's go Brandon" FJB. Thanks for watching, friends, and I'll see you on the next one.